Hello everyone and welcome to PSGL Qatar, and this is always quite an interesting race actually. With the high slipstream on F124, you'd think it's quite a raceable track, but it is very difficult to make your way up the pack. Nevertheless though, we are here in Q1 of course, with our first banker lap coming towards the end of the middle sector split, and it's been a pretty successful banker lap so far. We lost quite a bit of time on that left-hander, about half a tenth, if not 3/4 of a tenth already, but doing a 5-3-4 middle sector split is not too bad. It's not terrible, it's not setting the world alight, but it is what it is, kinda. But anyway, coming into the final few corners here, Britsu goes provisional fastest and into the final apex of the lap. We rotate the car in, onto the power, onto the ERS, onto the DRS, and we go provisionally P3 at the moment with a 0.3 split, but you can see that put us down into P7, so we opted to go again here in Q1 just to try and secure our position into Q2, as staying in the pit box would have been quite a big risk. Into turn 1, the car rotates beautifully back onto the power. We're gaining time on our delta through apex 2. Again, beautiful rotation back onto the power again, and we're up on our first sector split so far. Into the double right-hander, nice on the white line, back on the power, and we are driving this lap really in a nice way so far, and we're improving our first sector split by half a tenth. Into the hairpin, let the car rotate, beautifully done, and now you can see on the steering wheel at the bottom of the screen, we're almost 1/10 up, rotate the car through. It's been pretty successful for there, fighting the rear on the exit just a little bit. Now into the right-hander, easy flat out, into the left, but you're going to see we make a small mistake, and we get a bit of understeer in the middle of the corner, but compromise our ability to get on the power, and that cost us about 1.5 tenths just in that one apex alone. Into the final sector split, fully flat out through these. We need to recover a good final corner here. This is easily flat out for the left-hander, but we need to recover about half a tenth in the final quarter to have any chance of going through into Q2. It's a good final corner, but it might not be enough. Running up to the line, what's it going to be? And we are not going to get through.
Oh man!
So we didn't even improve our lap time, what means we're going to be P17 on the grid for the race, but we're going to be feisty to try and make up these positions ASAP and aim to get as many positions knocked off through the first lap as possible, and naturally during the strategy make that up during the rest of the race as well. But it's lights out and away we go. Still all to play for, still all to fight for, and we get a pretty decent start running down to turn 1. Brendon on the medium compact tyres gets a better start. We look around the outside and you can see just getting back on the power, bit of a snap of oversteer, and that compromises our ability to stay up the inside of Alvaro Caraton. Nevertheless though, we get a good run of the left-hander, but we did have to avoid his car just a little bit, and now side by side into the fast right-handers. Around the outside, we find the space, find the gap, trying to keep the car there. Fair racing, room is being left on the either side, and just about enough room there, but we're able to keep the car down the inside, and there's a Constantino effect, and Philippe Schneider has lost his front wing in that instant as well. So yeah, really unfortunate for him, but now we're able to get up into P16, and of course Daniel Perezne on the medium compound tyres, who started behind us, is now ahead of us. But considering we was able to make like two positions on the same tyre compound runners as us, was a very successful start, and now we're going to look to build upon that during the remainder of the race. You see Daniel Perezne is actually flashing with his ERS at the moment. I didn't know this at the time, but he actually had front wing damage. As you can see right now, I started to understand he had the front wing damage because he was so slow in the left-hander. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame because he's such a good driver, such an amazing driver as well, for him to have
Why
front
is
wing
he going to burn
damage.
his battery with no front wing?
So yeah, really a big shame for him. I was a bit confused here because he did let us pass, but I thought he was going to fight us really hard initially, but he didn't. So really big respect to Perezne there for not holding us up and trying to ruin our race. But that being said, we are now on to lap 4 here in, I was going to say lap 14, but Duncan is in lap 14. We are on lap 4 and I am P15, and you can see we're all over the back of him, starting to get into a flow, starting to get into the stint as it starts to unfold here through the left-hander, and we make the same mistake as qualifying, and you can see how big of a mistake that was, how big of a snap that was, and that's allowed Barry Borman around the outside, and now we're going to have the inside line for the right-hander. We're leaving room on the exit, but that is just enough to keep ahead. But that was a heart-in-mouth moment. That could have so easily meant the car spun around. We could have so easily ended up in the gravel or the wall or backwards, but we was able just to control the car in that situation. But still, heart in mouth, not ideal, not quick. Lap 7 though, we're on the attack. We're going to look around the outside of Duncan Hoffman through turn 1, but he parks the bus beautifully, and now we are stuck behind him as we are on lap 7, of course, with the left-hander. I think we were running high downforce than most cars, so in the corners we were really fast. You can see now, lap 9, Fabrizio's now falling behind Duncan. We go down the inside and squeezing me to the white line. We're able just to keep the car there onto the power around the outside. Again, squeezing me on the white line. Was actually touching tyres as we went into the corner, but we're not quite able to get alongside and get past him on lap 9. Lap 10 though, now we're going to be all over the back of him. We fake him around the inside, goes to the outside, around the outside, and we just get absolutely shuffled off the track. And then again we get shuffled off the track on the exit, and now we're going to be down the inside of Fabrizio Donoso. We leave him the space on the exit, and now he's able to get the run on us with that extra space, and that going into the right-hander, and we're going to go around the outside. But not enough traction to get our car fully ahead. We understeer actually off the track here. We do pick up a track limit warning, so we are still side by side through here, and now Fabrizio's off the track to try and retain the position. And yeah, you can see now Bari is now up the inside of us. We burnt so much time, so much battery, and we get pushed off the track again. But in Bari's defense, that was just lag, I think. I think that was just his car lagging because he's racing in Dubai. I'm from the UK, of course. So yeah, a bit of unfortunate situation there. And that penalty should be removed. It's in the steward's room at the moment, so should be removed, and I should get that 3-second penalty taken away. So it's all good in that situation. But yeah, shuffled wide by Fabrizio, lost all our battery, lost a lot of time because of that. And yeah, then we dropped to the back of the train for the hard compound runners. But there's also a silver lining to it, because we're able to refocus, regain our battery. As you can see now on lap 12, we fell a little bit further behind to start saving that battery back up as much as possible. Lap 18, you can see now people are starting to box, and we are going to going for 1 lap overcut and just try to get fresher tyres for the final stint to make something happen, to try to get back into the points paying positions and just try to make something of this race. You can see now at the end of lap 19, you can see Ruben Geno and Ismail Fassi are actually leading the race in the hypothetical sense. And now you can see coming into the pit lane, getting the car slowed down, and we are going to be going on to the medium compound tyres for the final stint of the race. And we have a lot of work to do. We have so much work to do in trying to make up these positions as we go through the remainder of the lap. But I believe we could do it. I think we have really strong pace. Of course, we're running higher downforce than most people, I feel, at this point, just due to their straight line speed. But with that being said, we can make something special happen in the corners and trying to maximize the situation that we have presented to us. Fabrizio sped in the pit lane, so he actually fell behind us. I think he sped in the pit lane anyway. I'm not too sure why else he would be 3 seconds behind when he had the undercut. But that being said, you can see now on our out laps, you can see we was able to close 3 temps to Joni Tormala up ahead and sneak into the DRS zone as well. So that's critical, and also showing that we do have a solid pace when we're in the clean air and able to run our own laps. But that being said, taking up the DRS now, and that's going to be a nice booster for our lap time purple final sector as well. Lap 22, Josh and Joni, of course, are teammates, so they swapped. So then Joni can go and push forward in this race to try and collect some points for Alpine. But now you can see Josh is now going to try and defend from us. What's fair, to be honest. he's going to work with his teammate Yoni to try and maximize the situation for their team, and Yoni and Tamas battling side by side up ahead, and now you can see Williams is wide as well, and now Josh is just up ahead of us, and we're going to try and get an absolutely rocket off this corner, and using a lot of our battery down the straight, trying to get to the outside line, and now again around the outside, and we're just going to get shuffled wide again. But again, I would say I think that was exaggerated by the content model. Normally Josh is a really good racer anyway. I have a lot of respect for him, so I think it was pushed wide a little bit, but it was exaggerated by the contact model, what pinged off to the left hand side in a really exaggerated way. But that being said though, now we have to get a move on, and now Josh is getting a move on as well with Tamas up ahead. He's going to look around the outside, and you can see there's going to be a little bit of contact. Tamas is going to push him wide, what gives us the opportunity to go around the outside. We get squeezed to the white line, and now we're just going to get pushed into the absolute gravel on the exit. We rejoined, of course, had a bit of contact with Josh, but I think both of us couldn't see where each other was, so it's just racing is a bit normal with that situation. But yeah, I didn't expect to be in the gravel on that corner on this race, but with that being said, we have 5 laps left of racing to try and maximize whatever situation we can get out of this race. Now opening DRS, and we're just easily going to go past on the straight. Thomas ahead, giving us a slipstream and really working efficiently well as teammates. As you can see now through the right-hander, Thomas actually got damage earlier in the race, so he's a bit like limping at the moment. He also has a broken rig, so he's doing absolutely sensational to be qualifying and to be racing at such a high level, and he was able to let us past here so we could try and push forward and get some points for Sauber. You can see now Ruben up ahead is slowing down quite a bit, and you can see we have a big snap of oversteer right up behind him, and that was a tendency of this car that I set up, was quite snappy on the rear, as you saw from the qualifying, as you saw from earlier. I think it was lap 4 with Bari, as we're able to get up the inside of Ruben, as yeah, it was my mistake. I made a small setup misjudgment and was just a bit too loosey-goosey on the rear and not giving me enough grip, so that's definitely something to improve for next time. You can see we get a big snap of oversteer on the rear axle when braking. Yoni Tormala up ahead having a bit of a wiggle on the exit as well. Lap 29 now, and we was not able to get anything done with Yoni on the previous laps, but yeah, a bit, to be honest, like, yeah, a lot of being pushed wide, especially in corner 4 on this race. But that's the price I pay. I got my words out eventually. That's the price I pay for bad qualifying. Of course, no one deserves to be pushed off the track. No one deserves to be pushed into the gravel, as we tried to have a look at Yoni. But I also have to take a responsibility on myself. I made a bad qualifying, I made the mistake in qualifying, and without that situation, probably I wouldn't have been battling outside the top 10 anyway. So as you can see, we tried to have a look up the inside of Yoni, but Yoni's a smart driver. He leaves the room on the inside, and yeah, just gets the traction on the exit and nothing to do there. But yeah, so wasn't correct to be pushed off, and definitely halted our progress quite a lot. That 3-second penalty will be removed. Like I said, it's in the stewards, but I'm very confident they'll be removed. So without those incidents that hindered our progress, maybe we could have been on a top 6 position, maybe more. But that's a learning curve, and I definitely don't make that mistake again in qualifying. And yeah, more knowledge, more power, more expertise, and how we can fight people in F1 esports and who's going to fight us in certain ways is always good knowledge for me. So although this has been really unideal for my results in PSGL, especially this race, it's good knowledge and a good understanding about myself, why I made the mistake in qualifying, and good understanding about how other people will race each other in the race. So when we do get to F1 esports, it's more knowledge, more expertise, and more ability to maximize the situation there. So yeah, is what it is. Is what it is. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Grazie, ciao ciao, bye bye.